we come face to face with the challenges and the things that we've been told, and so we face the practical stuff after school. And so I think you guys are doing an amazing thing, and you should keep it up. Please don't relent, don't give up. All of you, we need all of you to make this possible, so please do well to participate. Okay, so the topic that I was given was quite an interesting one: emotional intelligence. I heard Pio saying that I'm a guru in that field. It's quite interesting because it's something that I learn on a daily basis. I don't think that emotional intelligence is something that you can learn upfront and you are fine. I think on a daily basis, you are faced with different challenges, you are faced with circumstances, you are faced with things that emotional intelligence comes to play. And so in my organization like this, one of the things that we measure, or one of the things that we look out for mostly, is leaders who exhibit emotional intelligence. So I don't know if I have permission to share. Okay, I think I do. Okay, so let me quickly share my slide.
I would like to see the three of you
Okay. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen quickly and then we can quickly start. Please, if you can see my screen, just give me some sort of heads up, then I know that my screen can be seen.
Yes, please. Your screen is visible.
Great. All right. Okay. So the topic that we're given today is to talk about emotional intelligence and social skills. I remember asking Terry, what exactly do you want me to say? He said, oh, just anything around it. So I think what I decided to do was more to look at how to sharpen our emotional intelligence, how to sharpen it. Because like I said, on a daily basis, emotional intelligence is something that we learn every single day. So before I go into what emotional intelligence is, quickly, I want us to do a short exercise. We want to determine how we feel now. So how many of us are on the line? 19 of us. Okay. So first and foremost, how do you feel? How do you feel at this moment within this short time that we are on this call? How do you feel? If it's something you can write down, please write it down. And then I will just mention names. So I'll just take 2 or 3 of us, and then we'll just tell us how you feel. I don't think there's no right or wrong answer, really. It's just to help us to be able to identify certain things. So please don't feel victimized when I call your name. So I see Nanefua. Nanefua, if you can unmute and tell us, how do you feel right now as we speak? How do you feel? Okay, so if Nanefua cannot hear me, Apraku, the oxygen, if you can hear me, how do you feel?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Good evening, family. Please, I'm doing well, but I just joined, so I don't know what's the topic on discussion now.
Right. We're talking about emotional intelligence. How to sharpen our emotional intelligence. I've not said anything. We're just doing a short exercise. So the question was to tell us how you feel at this moment. At this very moment, how do you feel? Just one word.
I feel bored.
You feel bored?
Yes,
right.
Please.
Thank you. Okay. Beatrice Adegu.
Okay, hello.
Hi.
Okay, so at the moment, I'm a bit relaxed after, I think, covering most of the things I have to do today to be able to start a new week. So I'm just relaxed now, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Beatrice, for that. And then we'll take Brahima. Brahima.
I am hungry. That's the first one. Yeah.
You are hungry.
Yes.
That's
I feel
famished,
hungry.
not angry.
No. Oh, I'm hungry.
Good. You are hungry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Uh,
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that with us. Okay. So I think the next exercise, and I want us to pin it down. I might not call you to say it, but I want you to look at the next person. So maybe after your name, just look at the list of participants. After your name, just look at the next person just after your name. And if you can write down what you think the person feels. So considering the person, knowing the person, or not even knowing the person, what do you think the person feels at this present moment? I think it will help us whilst we build our discussions this evening. So quickly, we will look at what emotional intelligence is. And emotional intelligence, we can define it as the ability to recognize, understand, and manage your own emotions, and also to recognize and understand and influence the emotions of others. So if you realize in our exercise, what we did was to first identify how we feel. And that is us recognizing and understanding and managing our own feelings. So someone said, I'm bored. I'm bored. The person knows that at this particular moment, he is bored. And so if anything came his way, it might not excite him. Someone said they are hungry, they are famished. So it also has a bit of anger in there, because as the Bible says, a hungry man is an angry man. You know, there's a popular saying, not the Bible, there's a popular saying that a hungry man is an angry man. And so for Brahima, for example, you would realize that he is coming from a very from that particular angle, and he actually understands or has come to realize that that is what he is going through right now, so that if he said anything to you, or if he did, or he reacted to anything, he knows that it is based on that feeling or what he's going through right now. That is how come he's giving a certain response or action to anything that comes his way. Then the bit about understanding and recognizing and influencing the emotions of others, like I mentioned earlier, that write down or pin down what you think the other person is feeling or what they are going through. It is just for you to understand what that person is going through. So for example, if you pin down Apraku, and he like he said, or Beatrice, for example, and Beatrice said that she feels elated, she's finished all she has to do, she's expecting a good week ahead and all of that. You know that if Beatrice is supposed to make any decision at this moment, it will be one of a good one, because she's coming from a very excited state at the moment. So that is what really emotional intelligence is all about. It's about you recognizing, understanding, and managing your emotions first, and then recognizing, understanding, and influencing the emotions of others. So in practical terms, this means you are being aware that emotions can drive your behavior and impact people either positively or negatively. And learning how to manage these emotions, both your own and others, is also very crucial. What do you do when you are super excited? What do you do when you are excited? When you are broke, when you don't have money in your pocket, what do you do? When you have lots of money, when there's cash, today is 30th, tomorrow is 31st. I'm sure by now, those of us who work, some of us have received alerts and stuff. When the money hits your account, what was the emotion? What was your demeanor? When you are angry or you are sad, what do you do? I think that these are very important questions that we need to ask ourselves when we go through these different phases, because you see, there are times when we are very happy. You see, and when you are very happy and someone comes to you and asks you for something, hey, if you even have $1 million, you give it to the person because you're super excited. When you are broke, see, ask me for 1 cedi and I have 1 cedi I won't give you because I want to save every dime. When you are sad, there's also a reaction that comes with it. So managing our emotions is especially important in situations when we are under pressure. So for example, when we are giving and receiving feedback, when we are meeting tight deadlines, when we are dealing with challenging relationships, when we do not have enough resources, when we are navigating through changes, and when we are working through setbacks and failures, there are these whole emotions that come with it. And it is important that we recognize and understand these emotions that come our way. So I will take us through a brief history of what emotional intelligence is, which has been quoted as emotional quotient. So how we have intelligence quotient, there's also emotional quotient. And I want us to just listen through some brief history of how emotional intelligence came about. So I think if you read about emotional intelligence, you realize that there's been a lot of school of thoughts, a lot of them in the 1980s and stuff. But I would want to dwell on 2 researchers who I think today their work is, please, is someone saying something? Sorry. Okay, all right. So I will dwell on 2 researchers who are in our present day and age, it's their research that most people who are into emotional intelligence or quotient actually derive their information from. So this is David Goleman. Okay, so first and foremost, the 2 researchers, Peter Salovey and John Mayer, they came up with an article, Emotional Intelligence, somewhere in 1994, in a popular journal known as Imagination, Cognition, and Personality. So what they sought to do was just for them to be able to identify and know that, okay, there's something like this that exists. Like I said earlier, there were people in the past who had come up with emotional intelligence. And so these 2 researchers try to sort of build upon it. But one of the people who did some extensive work was Daniel Goleman. He introduced the 5 dimensions of emotional intelligence. I think when we do any research on emotional intelligence, these 5 dimensions come up, namely self-awareness, the management of one's emotions, which is self-management. Then there's motivation, motivating others' emotions, empathy, and staying connected, which is the social skills. So Goleman argued the importance and essentiality of intelligence quotient, which is IQ, and emotional intelligence, and its contributory factor to individual success. I know that when we're growing up, we're told about having high IQ, and those with the high IQs are the people who are intelligent and they make the A's, and they are the successful people, and they will be the people who will lead the world and all of that, because we see that most leaders have high IQs. But these researchers came up with something different to say that emotional intelligence is equally important as IQ. Because you see, you can have all the intelligence in this world, but without emotional intelligence, you can fail. Why is emotional intelligence important? Why is it important? All right, so like I said, there's a whole scientific fact about emotional intelligence. So there's a fact that says that our emotions precede our thoughts. I know that if we've done a lot of reading, you realize that every time there's a saying that our emotions, it precedes our thoughts. When emotions run high, they can change the way our brains function. Like I said earlier, if you're excited, when someone came to you and asked you for everything of it, you would give it to the person because of how you're feeling at the moment. You finish and you realize that, oh, Right. And when we go through such changes, what happens is that it diminishes our cognitive abilities, our decision-making powers, and even our interpersonal skills. That is when our emotions precede our thoughts. So understanding and managing our emotions and others' emotions help us to be more successful in both our personal and professional lives. So at the personal level, how does emotional intelligence help us? So we see here that it helps us to, so having an uncomfortable conversations without hurting others' feelings. So it helps us to build stronger relationships. We realize that most of the times when our emotions come to play, if you are not careful, you will say something or you would utter a word that later you would regret saying it. So when you are conscious of your emotional intelligence and that of others, what would happen is that you are able to build stronger relationships. You also succeed at school and work, achieving your career and personal goals. What I've come to realize is that you need to manage your own emotions when you are stressed or you are feeling overwhelmed, especially at work or personally. You see, at times when we are tired, even as moms and as fathers, when you are tired and your child comes to you, if you're not careful, that frustration that you have, you just push it on that child. And later you sit back and you regret. So emotional intelligence is very important for us to know it so that you're able to manage these emotions. When you are stressed, when you're feeling overwhelmed, when you are happy, when you are sad, you know how to manage it. And then it helps you to also improve relationships with the people you care about. Like I said earlier, building stronger relationships. At the workplace, emotional intelligence helps you to resolve conflict. You see, many a times, if you know yourself and you know others, you know that this person, this is how they are. You are able to let things go easily. You are able to resolve the issue easily. You don't keep it to heart. You don't feel that, oh, okay, because this person did this to me or reacted this way, I also have to give this response. Then you also would be able to coach and motivate others. When you know, that's when you're able to show or teach others or coach others with regards to that. And it also helps to create a culture of collaboration. See, when you are high, when you know yourself and know others, there's nothing that you are unable to do. There's no collaboration you can't do. You are able to accommodate others. You are able to collaborate easily. You don't need to wait for someone to come in and say, oh, let's do this or let's do that. But you yourself, based on you knowing yourself and knowing others, it helps you to be able to collaborate easily and also to build psychological safety within teams as well, so that you don't have to stress yourself. Interestingly, when you don't know yourself or when you even don't know others, what will happen is that at times people develop BP, anxiety, depression out of all this because you just don't understand. Why do they always keep doing this? You wonder because they do it, they apologize, they do it again. And then in our minds, we are like, oh, that's how they are. So most of the time, we feel overwhelmed, we feel anxious because this person can never change. I think one of the things I've come to realize is that the smartest people in an organization or in any society are not always the most effective. See, you can have people who are successful at the workplace, they might be successful in school, they might be successful wherever, but it doesn't mean that they are the most effective people. What distinguishes the most productive employees from the average is emotional intelligence. I think when I started, I mentioned something that in my organization like this, and I know that in a lot of organizations, what I've come to realize is that a lot of leaders or people are made leaders based on emotional intelligence. Because you see, you cannot promote somebody to be a leader who do not know, they just don't know themselves and they don't know others. How do they manage a team? How are they able to lead? Because people are looking up to them. How do they lead? So it's important that this emotional intelligence is not something that is put to play. And so we are not just looking at the smartest people around, but we are also concentrating on leaders who exhibit emotional intelligence. You see, it's very, I like it that we are Christians. And so I try to pick a lot of Bible scriptures that talks about emotional intelligence. So bear me, I'm going to read all of them because I think that it speaks to what we are talking about. So the first is Proverbs 3 verse 30, and all these scriptures are from Proverbs. So Proverbs 3:30 says that do not contend with a man for no reason when he has done you no harm. Proverbs 10:12 says that hatred stirs up strife, but love covers all offenses. And Proverbs 10:19 says that when words are many, transgression is not lacking, but whoever restrains his lips is prudent. Proverbs 11:12 says that whoever belittles his neighbor lacks sense, but a man of understanding remains silent. Proverbs 11:17 says that a man who is kind benefits himself, but a cruel man hurts himself. Proverbs 11:12-18 says that there is one whose rash words are like sword thrust, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. 12:25 says that anxiety in a man's heart weighs him down, but a good word makes him glad. 14:7 says that leave the presence of a fool, for there you do not meet words of knowledge. 14:29 says that whoever is slow to anger and has great understanding, but he who has a hasty temper exalts folly. 14:30 says that a tranquil heart gives life to the flesh, but envy makes the bones rot. 15:1 says that a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. 15:14 says that the heart of him who has understanding seeks knowledge, but the mouths of fools feed on folly. 15:28, the heart of the righteous ponders how to answer, but the mouth of the wicked pours out evil things. 15:30, the light of the eyes rejoices the heart, and good news refreshes the bones. 16:24, gracious words are like a honeycomb, sweetness to the soul and health to the body. 17:9, whoever covers an offense seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates close friends. 17:14, the beginning of strife is like letting out water, so quit before the quarrel breaks out. 17:27, whoever restrains his words has knowledge, and he who has a cool spirit is a man of understanding. 17:28, even a fool who keeps silent is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is deemed intelligent. 23, it is an honor for a man to keep aloof from strife, but every fool will be quarreling. 21:24, scoffer is the name of the arrogant, haughty man who acts with arrogant pride. And 29:11, a fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back. Amen. I think that these scriptures that I have read so far, there are 22 of them. It speaks about how to react when we are faced with different emotions, when we are angry, when we are sad, when we are upset, when people do things to us that we need to retaliate. I think that Proverbs has done justice to our discussion this morning on how to react. I think one of the scriptures that speaks a lot to what I would want to talk about is the 17:9 that says that whoever covers an offense seeks love, but he who repeats a matter separates close friends. I think I will come to this in my discussion. You know, most of the times we are as Christian brothers and sisters, it is very, very easy for us to quickly uncover something someone is doing to us. And so we quickly will call another, hey, have you seen what this person has done? Have you seen what this person is doing? Have you realized that this person is doing this? This brother or this sister is doing this? Most of the times we see and we get these things a lot, especially even from us as Christian brothers and sisters. But the Bible says that whoever covers an offense, you're seeking love. You're seeking love. But he who repeats a matter, you are separating close friends. I didn't say it. It's the Bible saying this. So quickly, I would want to give some time for us to ask questions or to have some practical discussions on what happens at the workplace or wherever you are. So I'll try to rush through my slides. So if in your question, if there's something that is not clear during the question time, you can please ask. So what we will do next is to look at the 5 dimensions that Daniel Goleman spoke about, and to give us a bit of insight on what these areas are. So the first is self-awareness. And it is just basically the capacity to perceive and comprehend an individual's disposition, feeling, and their impact on others. It incorporates fearlessness, reasonable self-evaluation, and a sense of humor. Self-awareness relies upon one's capacity to screen one's own feeling and to accurately recognize and name one's feeling. So like the 3 of us did earlier, to be able to name how we feel. Like I said, that is the first and crucial thing that you need to know. And it is through that you are self-confident, because you know who you are. And I like it that someone just said, I am bored. So that's the first thing, self-awareness. But it doesn't just remain there, you just knowing yourself. The next is self-management, and it is the capacity to control or divert problematic driving forces and temperament, and the affinity to suspend judgment and to think before acting. You know, most of the time, and this is self-management to others. So you being able to control control feelings and behaviors, managing emotions in healthy ways. This is in relation to how others feel. So someone comes to you and says something to you. How do you control your feeling? Someone calls you and insults you. How do you control your feeling? How do you control the words that will come out of you? If the person is standing in front of you, what emotions, what behavior, what will be the reaction? It is good that you know that, which is self-management, managing how you feel, managing what the person, the words or the actions the person is demonstrating, and you being able to overcome it with love. The third is empathy or social awareness. And what empathy generally is the capacity to comprehend the emotional makeup of other individuals. It is the ability to understand individuals and how they respond to emotional issues and to relate to them. I think that is one of the crucial things that a lot of us are missing. And even for me, on a daily basis, you come across, because you see, every day you meet different cohorts of people. You think that you have seen it all. You know, at times you feel that you have seen it all, but you would come and meet someone, or someone will cross your path, and you realize that, hey, this one day, I haven't seen this before. But you see, the most important thing is exhibiting empathy. And empathy is simply you understanding the emotions of another person. You see, at times, we always say that You see, try and put yourself in the shoes of another. Maybe that particular time, you don't know what the person is going through. Try and put your shoes into that, and your feet into that person's shoes. So for example, they call to insult you or they call to accuse you. What would be your reaction? At that moment, the best reaction is, whatever you give to me, I give it same to you. But you see, words are so powerful that words cannot be taken back. Like the scripture we read, they say, another version say that sweet words are like a sweet honeycomb. It brings health to the bones. Sweet words. So it's important that we choose our words and our actions very carefully, because we are Christian brothers and sisters. You see, you don't have the liberty to even say certain things. You don't have the liberty to use certain words because eyes are watching you. Eyes are watching you. There's a popular thing. They'll say, but at times it is hard. It is hard. I tell you, it is difficult. So you see, if you go through the process, one, recognizing yourself, now recognizing the other person, and then now having empathy, it sort of it tells you, or it gives you some sort of, you sort of, I say, you break before you give an answer. That's a typical example especially for those of us who are married. Asante, your husband can say something, then some word B is coming, but you know that this word, when you say it, you cannot take those words back, or there's certain reaction, you cannot take it back. And so you are careful. So what you break, relax, and then let the answer flow. When you do that, you realize that whatever word that was going to come out at first, you realize that you yourself, you sit back and you realize that this thing, if you have said it, the sort of reaction that it would bring, you won't be able to contain it. The next thing we'll talk about is social skills. I think that's one of the crucial things that I'll talk about in my presentation. Social skills. What is social skills? It is the capability in overseeing connections and building social relationships, and a capacity to discover shared opinion and construct affinity. You need to be able to build and maintain good relationships. I think that if your fellowship doesn't have that good relationship, I don't think a lot of you will be on there. I think currently we are 34. And so it is important that we build these social skills. We are able to clearly communicate, inspire and influence others. How we work, how we manage conflict, we'll delve into what social skills is. So it is a very crucial component or dimension of emotional intelligence, because you can do all the self, but social skills translates more onto others and onto relationships that we build. And the fifth is internal motivation. So internal motivation is generally an enthusiasm to work for intrinsic reasons that go past economic rewards and status. So this goes into where, so for example, when you have an internal vision of what a vital life is, for example, you have delight in accomplishing something, you have interest in taking in and ensuring that what you're doing, you get the right benefit from it. So it is more of an inner drive to achieve something. So like I clearly said, if for example you want to lose weight or you want to stay healthy, there are things that you have to do internally. So if you know that you have to wake up at 5 a.m. and take a walk, you have to motivate yourself. It is an inner drive. It is you. It is that goal that you have set ahead of you, knowing that, okay, so this is what I want to do. This is the healthy space I want to be in. And so I need to wake up. I need to take that walk. I need to eat healthy. I need to make sure that all that I'm putting in me, or all that I'm consuming, will not destroy my body. Right. So The next thing we're going to look at is sharpening this emotional intelligence, sharpening it. How do you sharpen your emotional intelligence? First and foremost, under self-awareness, you need to identify your strengths and weaknesses. You need to identify who you are, which strengths do you have, which weaknesses do you have. And it's important that you keep a diary of your feelings. Keep a diary of it. What makes you angry? What makes you sad? And the earlier exercise, I asked us to write it down. It's important that you do. Interestingly, at my workplace, when you come for an interview, those are some of the questions I'll ask you. What makes you angry? You realize that people don't even know what makes them angry. And for me, it's a very important question, because when I get to know what makes you angry, if I am employing you into the organization, I know what sort of things to do so that when that anger is sparking, or even to make sure that we control that anger from coming, you need to practice how you feel and predict your feelings in situations. At times, it is good that you sit down to say that, okay, so if someone came to me, if right now I'm sitting here, I've not done anything to someone and they gave me a knock, what will I do? What will I do? In general, for me, what I can think about right now is just to knock the person back. But one, do I know why the person knocked me? Because if I was in the person's shoes and I knocked another, well, I want to be knocked back. I don't think I'll be knocked back. So it is important that we practice how we feel and predict our feelings in certain situations. It's also important for us to know that we are in charge of our own emotions, our thoughts and our behavior. You choose your emotions and actions. I don't think that anybody, you see, I think that we have that choice to be angry, and we have that choice to be sad. We have that choice to be happy. Like Apraku said, he's bored. It is his choice. Apraku can find something that to make him happy, but he has chosen to be bored. I don't remember. Brahima said that he was hungry. Brahima could easily have found food to eat and he'll be okay. But he decided to join this call without eating. And so maybe right after this call, he would have his dinner. But that's a choice. That's a choice that he made. I'm sure that Beatrice also made that same choice to make sure that, see, let me finish all the things I have to do before evening so that I know that I have a very relaxed evening and I can plan for my tomorrow. That is a choice. So I want to bring our minds to the fact that, see, don't ever think that this person is the one who made you angry. Or someone makes you happy. That's why they always say that we are in charge of our own happiness and our own sadness. It's a choice that you need to make. So take charge of it and recognize your emotional triggers. Like I said, recognize what makes you happy and what makes you sad. There are things, all of us, there are things that makes us happy. For me, when it's Friday, hey, if you come and ask me anything on a Friday, I'll just give you yes, 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 because I'm looking forward to the weekend. So recognize what triggers your emotions. What will make you happy? What will make you sign that contract? What will make you not sign it? It's important that you recognize all these things. Then get to know what motivates you. I think that it's important that we get to know what motivates us and pay attention to your behavior. See, when you do something and you yourself, you sit back and you realize that what you did was wrong, I think it's important that we pin it down and say, okay, this I did. See, that's something I do on a daily basis. So every day after work, before I sleep, I try to write down, okay, what happened today? There are things that happened that I sort of didn't like. Okay, how I responded to this person. I don't think I would want to respond to that person in that way because it doesn't make me a good leader. So the next time, how will I do it? So now I am conscious of it. I'm conscious that this person has the capability of doing this to me the next time. So let me brace myself. Let me brace my emotions. So when they come, I know that this is how this person is and I will behave accordingly. And like I said earlier, for us, we cannot behave like the world because for you and I, we are examples of Christ. And so we need to to really look at the example that Jesus emulated for us to do. So in the workplace, for example, if you go and Christian brothers and sisters are doing something, I don't know at your workplace, but for me, you will get the backlash. Hey, now sorry pony. You see, that those statements break my heart. Those statements break my heart a lot when I hear that, because you see, we are representing Christ at the workplaces or in the schools or wherever we are representing Christ. And so if our actions or our inactions let people say these things about Christianity, I don't think that it is a good example that we are setting. And we need to take responsibility for your actions and your own mistakes. Like I said, for me, every day I sit back and I write these things down. See, there are people that even no matter how I think that I control myself, I still realize that, oh, maybe I could have said this way. Many times, I will send a text message and say, you know what, I'm sorry for the way I behaved towards you today. And I'm looking forward that next time I will behave better. I could have said this or done this in this way. And you realize that at times, even the person faltered. But when you send those things, I think that it puts us in a good light. Not that you want to make face, no, but it helps you to be able to also resolve any conflict that is ahead of you. And then it's also important that you question your own opinions. So how you react to something, you need to question it. You need to question it. You need to practice the I statement that I was late, I was angry. See, I did this. I did this. Don't come and do any blame game, because you said this and that's why I said that. No. Like I said, in my responses, I tell them that, see, I think I should have responded this way and I did not. And so I am sorry. Next time, I will do it better. I don't even go to what the person did, because you see, in the person's mind, maybe they've not even come to realize that what they said was wrong. So it's important that we do that. And it's also important for us to manage the stress that is around us, because you see, most of the time at the workplace, the stress is so much that when people come to you, you react. So we need on a constant basis to practice calmness. At times people say, practice deep breathing exercises. You see, before you even say a word, when someone comes to you and they give it to you or they say something that you are not happy, most of the times it is advisable that you take a breath, take a step back. Don't be quick to answer. Relax and give your answer. And you realize that when you are more relaxed, you are able to deliver or give a better answer. Also read into non-verbal communications. At times, you see, when you are with somebody and you want to correct the person that, oh, see what you said, you should have said it this way. See, read the non-verbal cues from the person. Probably what you are saying, the person they're not even getting you. So if you're not careful, it's what you are rather trying to resolve something, but it will end into something. So it's important that you read in between the lines. At times, people might not say things with words, but their demeanor, the way their facial expression, the way they're even positioned talking to you, you know that this one, it won't go well. If I were you, I would just keep quiet and let it slide and maybe pick it up on a later time. So, and as the Bible, as the popular saying is, be angry, but not sin. The Bible says that we should be angry, but we should not sin. So make sure, like the Bible says, that we should not let the sun go down on our anger. Let's make sure that whenever we are angry or upset with something, we make sure that we resolve it as soon as possible. Another thing is to learn to change, is to learn to change the stimulus. So when we are on edge, when that answer is coming, please take a break. Maybe at times, just relax, leave that environment, get a book, read, listen to music, just leave the environment. Wherever that agitation is, you can just leave that place. At times, food also helps. So eat to live. For me, when such issues happen, or you are finding it difficult to express yourself, find something, eat to live. Then create a routine and work with it. It is important that you create a routine around your emotional intelligence. It's very, very important that you do that. And don't get mad, but get better. Don't get mad, but get better. Learn to choose your actions. And at times use the pause button. Like I said, at times it's better for you to just pause. Just pause. Just don't say anything. At times we are quick. We are quick to answer. We are quick to just say something. Just hold on and pause on that. All right. Empathy. Some key things I want us to learn about empathy. It is important that we listen. It is important that you tell the person, oh yes, I understand you. Oh yes, I see what you're talking about. Oh yes, I get you. I get it. It is important that you listen to others. And it's also important that you put yourself in their shoes. Like I said, empathy, that's all it is. How would you want to be treated if it was you? It is important that you put yourself into their shoes. Be accessible and approachable. Be accessible and approachable. That's empathy. And emotional intelligence. People should be able to come to you and talk to you. Are you approachable? Are you that person that is easy to come to, or you're always wearing a frown on your face? Are you always difficult to come to? People say that, hey, if it was this person, no, let me just sit back. I won't come. I won't go there. Another thing that is important under empathy is to communicate clearly. It is not what you say, but how you say it. It's not what you say, but how you say it. So someone has lost somebody, someone has lost a very dear person, and the person comes to the office or wherever you meet the person and say, hey, I've heard that so and so has passed on. No, hey, we easily say these things. Then are you the one? Are you the doctor? Or if you get to know what killed the person, what would you do about it? It is important that these things we empathize with people. If it was you, how would you? I think one of the important questions, or one of the things that I've come to really not appreciate, especially from Christian brothers and sisters, when we have, let's say someone has been married for some time, or even the unmarried people, we come and say, hey, worry. Hey, now I worry or what about the second one neighbor? You see, at times we say it to make conversation, but I think that for me personally, I think that it is one of the things that if you are high on emotional intelligence, you are not quick to say such things, because you don't know the reason why the person is not married. You don't know the reason why the person hasn't given birth, or the person has given birth to one and doesn't want to give birth again. What has that got to do with you? I think that sometimes I don't know if it's a way of making conversation, but I would encourage all of us that these are things that they are very sensitive. They are very, very sensitive areas that we should not joke around with. At times it's not joking, but you just feel that, oh, it's just showing concern. Please, it's never showing concern. And I encourage all of us that we should really take a cue from that. I think the last one on the empathy is watch out on verbal cues. Like I said, at times when you are saying things and it's not going to go well, I think that you can easily read on the person's face how the person is behaving. The person is getting angry already. Please change the subject. Please divert it and say something. I remember one of the days I was going to say something to a staff. And when I called the staff in and we're talking and I started the conversation, I knew that if I had mentioned that, it would be World War II, even though the person was at fault. But you see, what I tried to do was that immediately I started and the person knew where I was going. The person started taking a face. So I quickly shifted the topic and I changed what I was going to say. And the person was happy. The next moment, I just brought up whatever we're going to discuss. Just getting the person unawares. I think it's important. It's a skill. I think emotional intelligence is a skill that all of us need to adapt. Now we come to the social skills. Sharpening your social skills. Like I said, social skills is what is building and maintaining relationships in all that we do. So there are certain key things under social skills that we will look at. One is communication. Communication is simply listening actively and delivering a clear and appealing message. You see, most of the times we want to do all the talking. We don't want the other to even talk. How do you build a relationship with that? How do you maintain a relationship? If you have a friend, whenever you call the person say, when you even raise the topic, it's like they know more than you. So they always would want to say, they won't even let you land, and then they pick up the conversation. It's important that whilst we sharpen our social skills, whilst we sharpen our emotional intelligence, it's important that we listen actively and we deliver clear and appealing messages. Delivering our messages clearly and appealing deals with the kinds of words that we also would use. The kinds of words we use. The next is influence. I think that's one of the crucial things under social skills, influencing others. Influencing others. And it is simply smoothly guiding others towards a valuable direction, not manipulating them. When you're influencing somebody, what you're doing is you are guiding the person towards something valuable, and you're not manipulating them. It is very crucial under building and maintaining relationships, because I don't think that you would want to keep a relationship or keep a friendship or keep somebody in a relationship who doesn't influence you, really. Like the person, so you even want to spend less time with the person. So it's important that we build our influences. And then the next thing is collaboration and cooperation. You need to be able to work with others for a common goal. That is all collaboration and cooperation and cooperation is, or cooperation is. Collaboration and cooperation. It's important that we build that at our workplaces, wherever we find ourselves. See, it shouldn't be difficult. You shouldn't be a difficult person. You shouldn't be a difficult team player. You shouldn't be a difficult boss. You shouldn't be a difficult team leader. Hey, say your boy see me see there. Hey, this person, this person, I don't want to be in a team with that person. And it is all through emotional intelligence. People are not just, it's not that people are just difficult to, it's just that they have not been able to build on their emotional intelligence. When you meet difficult bosses, when you meet difficult people, please check out for emotional intelligence in that person. The next thing is conflict management, which is simply resolving disagreement and preventing conflict. How do you resolve conflict? How do you resolve disagreement? How do you prevent them from happening? How do you prevent them from happening? The way we talk, the way we behave towards others, all through emotions, all through our emotional intelligence. So that is also very crucial in attaining or sharpening our social skills. The next is leadership. Leadership, which is inspiring and guiding others. I don't think that anyone would just want to follow, people would want to follow just anybody. Followers will definitely follow a leader. So it's important that whilst we build our social skills, we look at leadership. Who are you leading in your organization, in that workplace, at home? Who are you leading? Are you that person that inspires? Are you that person that guides? It's important that that area as well. The next under social skills is being a change catalyst. Being a change catalyst. Every leader, everyone who is big on emotional intelligence. That's one of the biggest things that we need to look at, being a change catalyst, initiating and managing change. There's change around you, there's change at the workplace, there's change at home, there's change in school, wherever you are. The person who is high on emotional intelligence, that person is a catalyst for change, because they understand where the change is coming from. They understand why the change has come, and they help to maneuver that change. And the last under social skills is building bonds, which is cultivating useful relationships. Cultivating useful relationships. I think that whilst we sharpen our social skills or our emotional intelligence, it's important that we build good relationships and good bonds. Because you see, no one would want to be friends with anyone who is just smart. Like I said earlier, it is not just smartness. It is not just smartness that is effective, but building on your emotional intelligence also helps you to be more effective. So I think I'm done with my presentation. I will take some questions, practical questions. I think I have just like 4 minutes left. Wow. Okay, so questions. Are there any questions? The floor is open. Please, if you have any question, you can unmute. Okay, Apraku, I see your hand up.
Praise the Lord, madam, and good evening to you all.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for this submission this evening. And I'm very glad to be part of today's session. It's my first time, but I got the link from Pastor Ima. So, Pastor Ima, God bless you. You've been a blessing to me this evening, because for the whole of last week, I had been having series of engagements with different encounters. And that has developed my attitude towards this boredom that I spoke about earlier on. So, per the submission or whatever thing you have given us this evening, it has made me come to realize why certain things came up and the reason why some of them I was able to I kept cool. I kept mute over even talking. I didn't even know what to say. So at the point in time, I'm yet to go back on the chat to reply those people. But the Proverbs quotations you submitted and everything that you've said here is now built me inwardly for me to know how to respond when it comes to issues that comes before me. And I really appreciate and I thank God for such a powerful ministration like this. And I want to say this. You see, sometimes too, somebody like my wife, she's the type, she wouldn't come with any issue for us to discuss. So anytime you see certain things you want to take her mind or just tune her mind to, then you alone have to do the talking. She is the good listener. She doesn't talk. She doesn't even, sometimes I wonder if she breathes. But you see, the issue is, I was thinking in a relationship, we all have to have a dialogue, especially when I present something which is very vital for us as couples to discuss. I want your opinions as a woman, because you being a woman with your submissions and the way you approach the issue will enable me to see it from another perspective, in order to see how best I can also present myself with the issue. But this is the situation whereby the woman doesn't also say anything, and then she's only waiting for you to finish and ask you, Mira, where we? What do we have to say about these things?
Right. Thank you, Apreku, for sharing this. I think that it is good when we are very frank about these things. You know, what your wife does, my husband does. So what we practically have this session where at the end of every year, we try to write down, okay, you did this thing this year to me and maybe I wasn't happy, or this is what you did and you did it so well, so do it again. See, every year I have a book, I will do it. See, we'll agree, we'll meet and we'll do it. My God, he didn't write anything. Oh, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next 2 weeks. See, we decided to do this in January. We are going to August too. He has still not done it. I think that it's more of temperamental, and I've come to appreciate him for that. They are just people who would never ever tell you how they feel. Like my husband, he would never ever tell you how he feels. If he's angry, you will never know. If he is sad, you will never know. If he likes her, even her, you can cook the best meal. Today, they only say, and then they're my popo mensano. You ask, oh, and they're trying to say, you tell you, oh, it's okay. I say, hey, it's okay. Like, you grade, you come and give you some average. And I've just come to realize that is him. Because you see, you can never do anything that will overly excite him. So, I have come to live with it. And so what I will do is that if this is what makes me happy. So for example, if it is talking, and that is what will help you to keep the relationship going, I think that you should keep doing it. Keep doing it and let her listen. Because you see, you will have a reverse where you have a woman who talks more and does not listen. But you need the listening. You need the listening. And it is important that, like we said, that you recognize yourself and recognize the others. This is who she is. This is what, see, no matter the number of talking, see, I've told my husband several times, oh, see, if I get feedback from you, then I know how to do about this. You have heard, he will never give you feedback. So you yourself will also have to find ways to get the feedback yourself without they saying it. So most of these people, what I've come to realize that there are lots of non-verbal cues. At times, the way they behave towards you, the way the emotions that they show, they might never be able to express it. The thing is that probably they don't even know that this is what they are going through. So I think that it is important that I would say, cut her the slack. I don't think it's a fast rule around it. If she wants to listen to you, let her keep listening, and you be the good talker. I think that it will blend the two of you. She listens, you talk. And I get it that at times you want feedback from her, you want to, so maybe at times throw the question to her and say, okay, what do you think? Or say, oh, maybe they're all doing and no one I'm making. Just take it as it is. Just take it as it is.
At least don't work out to me features up.
Say that again. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Feature me kakre.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear your comments, but yes, I think that just accept them for who they are. And when you do that, they are happy, you are happy. If you force them, I don't think you will get the best out of them, really. Okay, so
can I make a contribution?
Oh yes, you can.
Thank you. So and I think I can thank you very much, Madam Dorothy. I can very much relate with what our brother just shared, and it can be very, very frustrating, right? And I believe that exactly. And sometimes take a decision. I'm giving you opportunity to contribute, and it's like the person is virtually doesn't have anything to say. And I feel that it's like how is that you don't have an idea, you don't have any, you can't make a suggestion, you can't say something. So for me, I think that you have to train the person. So for me, sometimes what I do is that I give her the option. Okay, so this is what we want to do. This we can go option A, B, and C. Now, what will be your preferred choice? Say it and say why. And as long as she's not taking a decision, we are there. We are waiting for the decision. And sometimes it can be very interesting. It can be very interesting, and then she will cry and all that. But I know that's the training. She didn't get the opportunity to be heard. So, or she's been trained to to be like that. So that kind of thing. And once you wait that and you're expecting an answer, you will help her to take a decision. So by and by God's grace, you get there to We need thinking humans. We need somebody who can think, like who can say something, not just. So that's just what I would say, that
Right,
give her the
right.
options, and then
Thank
give
you.
her time to take a decision, and then that's
Mm,
it. So
Thank you.
gradually. Mhm.
Thank you, Vicentia, for the submission. But you see, one of the things I've come to realize is that temperamentally, some temperaments are very indecisive. So they will always will go with what you suggest. I admit to training, but they are still inclined to what you would see. So if you are not careful, it's the same thing you've said that they are giving back to you. But thank you for that. Yes, I think it is also important that you also would give them some time. And then I know there's another hand. Let me just read this question briefly. So it says, between introverts and extroverts, who are better with IQ? I think both. I think both, because you see, we don't have no introvert or extrovert, wherever you are. Like I said, emotional intelligence is something that you yourself you build. So whether you are an introvert or an extrovert, how you will sharpen it or how you will build it depends on you. So you can't say an introvert has better EQ than an extrovert. No, I think that it's on both sides. They all can be better with it. It depends on how you go about it. Okay, another question here. Maybe before I come to Blessy, please, how do you deal with bossy senior colleagues in respect to emotional intelligence? How do you deal with bossy senior colleagues? Okay, so at least I have worked in the corporate sector for a very long time. I think one of the things that I have come to understand with people who are bossy, and most of the time, those who are bossy, I would say they lack emotional intelligence. I would say this to say that, you see, it's important that wherever you are or wherever you sit in the organization, you also learn to manage your bosses. So you know that your boss is, excuse my French, Ochinkwasiasem. So anything, if you do something, he will just tell you his mind, he will give it to you, and then he just goes away. Know your boss. Know how to manage your boss. You see, most of the time we expect our managers to manage us. But what I tell my people is that as team members, wherever you are in the organization, you need to also learn to manage that boss. So you yourself, you're also a manager. Learn to manage that boss. Okay, what does this boss hate? See, if there's this work, if there's a mistake in the work and I give it to this boss, he will not accept it. So you know what? Everything that I do, it has to be on point. So you know how to manage that kind of boss. There's a certain boss who can cut you the slack. So, you make the mistake, they can cut you. So you know how to manage that one. You see, so that you also have to find ways of managing the different bosses that you have. So in respect to emotional intelligence, you have to be aware of that boss's behavior. Know that boss and be able to manage that person. Like we spoke about self-management, you need to also learn how to manage that particular boss. It is important that you do that, because you see, no matter who that boss is, for some typical example, I have a very demanding boss. He demands like A+ notch. That is him. I cannot take any mediocre work to that boss. He doesn't accept errors. He doesn't accept mistakes, like nothing. Not even a typo. So do you know what I do? When he gives me work to do, I give it to like 3 people to review it before I send it to him. So it will just go through processes before I give it to him. When it goes, I'm confident. And when it comes, he gives you the feedback. But if you don't know and you give him the work with errors, please know that you won't come back the same. Know that you won't come back the same. Okay, Evans says that the Bible, okay. So the Bible keeps praising silence. There's a school of thought that says evil thrives because of the silence of good people. Again, in marriage. Okay, I think this is a comment. Okay, I don't think that my little sister, she's like that. Okay. All right. I don't think there's any comment, there's any question again here. Okay, so Pius and then Blessel. I don't know if I got the name. So Blessel first and then Pius. I think time is far gone. Terry and Pius, please. Our time is gone, huh? How many minutes more?
We just have a few minutes left, and we have like 5 to 10 minutes more.
Okay, Blessel, quickly. And then I think Pius's hand is up and then.
Thank you very much.
Hello, Blessel.
So, please, I'm speaking. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Thank you very much.
If you can please speak up, it's hard to hear you.
Fine. Please, can you hear me?
Great, I can hear you now.
I don't know, where do you draw the line between communicating how you feel? Because I don't know, but in a strange way, I believe communicating how you feel helps you not to bottle up things where out of the blues you explode. Because I know that sometimes when people do something and then you go like, oh, let me just keep silence, and then it keeps coming out to you. You keep bottling up, and when you least expect it, or the day they do the minute thing, because you've already been bottling up, out of nowhere you explode and it's out of hand. The person goes like, what did I do? But then it's not because of what you did at that point, but because of all that you've been bottling up, right? So where do you draw the line between, because the scriptures you read, it was actually mostly bordering on keeping silence. But I want to know where to draw the line between picking up to communicate how you feel. But then I know that speaking up at the right time, not in the angry mood and all that. And then when do you also choose keeping silent? Or when do you keep silent for good and not mention the topic again? And when do you wait till the right time to speak up your feelings?
Right. Okay, yeah. Blessel. So like I said earlier, you see, your emotions are choices that you make. There's no one who can make you angry and nobody can make you sad. Those are choices that you yourself make. So I choose to be happy. I choose to be sad. I choose to get upset by what you just said, and I choose to laugh about it. So bless yourself. So typical example, Pius will say something to you, oh, ha ha ha, you laugh about it. But when Beatrice says it, I'm upset. But how dare her? Like, who is she? Like, am I on such terms with her? Like, how dare her? Like, why would she say that to me? So the difference is, why is it that Pius says the same thing and you laughed about it? But when Beatrice said it, you got upset. Like I said earlier, it's a choice. Where do you draw the line? I think that it is important that, like I said earlier, we all get to know ourselves and know when we can't take it. You see, when you can't take it, like I mentioned earlier, just excuse yourself, blow the heat and come back. There are times when, there are certain situations that you might not have to say anything about it. And you see, it is how things unfold. I like to work with practical stuff. So at my workplace, there was a certain lady that was employed, came in, I interviewed the lady, brought the lady in, she came to head a subsidiary in our organization. Now this lady started giving me instructions that is like, now I report to her. But in the organogram, I'm nowhere in her organogram. But because of my work and what I do as HR, I'm sort of supposed to help her in the administration of her work. So she comes here and says, hey, Dorothy, I need this, and this done. Ensure that it is done by this time. Sends you a mail, copy people, and then leaves it. Boy, the day I saw this thing, I was upset. I let it slide the first time. I said, oh, maybe, yeah, let me just let it slide. Then there was a second one. And I said, no, this lady, if I don't put her in her right shoes, I think it will overflow. So that day when I was calling her, I was so upset, preceding from what has happened earlier. And so I call her and then I just tell her my mind. I was upset, but I tell her what she's supposed to do. Then she also is upset and then comes back, and then now it becomes a quarrel. Why did you do this? And why did you say this to me? And earlier you did this to me and you did that to me. You see, later I went to her, we're having a conversation. She just was bringing this thing up again. And you know what? I just decided that, you see, let's call it a day. Let's come back tomorrow and let's have a cool discussion. We had a discussion one-on-one, and how she saw, or how first maybe me, how I saw what she was doing. It had nothing to do with what she had put across. But you see, in my mind, I'm like, but how dare her? Why would she come and instruct me to do this for her? Like, you don't do that. If anything, it's a favor I'm doing you. Why would you come and instruct me? She was also coming from the point of view that, Dorothy, you're helping me do something. So this is just me telling you, oh, help me do something. I don't know it. So just tell me, oh, this is how we do it. Then we're able to resolve the issue. But you see, I could have just bottled up and said, hey, you know what? I'm going to deal with her the way I have to deal with her, or the way however she brought it. That's how I'll deal with her. But you see, that will never, ever build relationships. That will never, ever maintain a good relationship. So you see, when I'm responding to somebody, I'm thinking, this relationship, what does it mean to me? Is this something I want to keep? Is this something I want to let go? It instructs the response you give. So if I know that saying something or letting go will keep the relationship, I shut up. Because there are certain things I've never even disclosed to the person that I even know, because I know that when I say it, the person might be upset and it will mar the relationship. So just shut up. But there are some that at the right time, you're able to find the right environment and you are able to express how you feel. But as much as possible, I encourage you, you said the Bible says silence, yes, but there's a time to speak up. I think the Bible really talks about silence in the fact that at that moment, when you say something, my sister, my brother, that response that will come will not be good. So thank you all for your audience. I think I have had a much more learning experience than you all. So thank you all, and I'll hand over to Pius and the team.
Thank you so much, Dorothy. I think
God bless
today's session has been very, very, very enlightening for me personally, and I believe it has been for all of us. I mean, from the comments we are getting, I know it's been a blessing for us in the various roles that we play as family members, as bosses and all that. Thank you so much for the insight. So people of God, will take a few announcements and then we'll bring the meeting to a close. Sorry for extending our time just by a few minutes. So we are going to take some offertory. I'm going to paste the mobile money number in the chat. So kindly, if you want to support the work of the Alumni Network, there are some administrative stuff that we do behind the scenes, and sometimes we need resources to support that. So you can kindly support the work of the Alumni Network. Thank you so much. Next month, we'll still have another session of Times of Reflection. We'll keep you updated on our alumni pages. And please, if you happen not to be on any of our pages, kindly reach out to myself or Brother Terry or Sister Vicentia, and then we can add you to our pages. Yeah, and kindly also talk to someone about Times of Reflection. We learned so many things here, and it's not just stuff that we term in quotes spiritual. I mean, we try as much as possible to make it all around holistic, I mean, to every area of our growth. Yeah, thank you so much for making time to join us tonight. We really appreciate your presence. And thank you so much, Dorothy, for your time as well. Without wasting much time, we'll call on Brother Ima to kindly give us a closing prayer.
Hallelujah. God bless every one of us. God bless you, Madam Dorothy. We are grateful you came, and it's been an a blessed moment. And God bless everybody who shared the link, who invited somebody.